morning. Unloading your kiln is always exciting, but today I find it especially exciting because it's a very big load of glazed pots. And not only that, but I'm a little bit stressful because I have a Christmas market coming up this weekend. It's Wednesday morning now, and these items are very important for that market. So it is extra important that this unloading goes well. So today I'm going to look at how to unload the kiln and how you can evaluate your results. One of the things a lot of people ask me is, when can I open my kiln? It depends a little bit on what kind of kiln you have. I have an electric kiln, like most of you guys probably have. This is an Evitherm. And it have these electric elements inside, and they don't like thermal shocks. So if you open your kiln too early, that's gonna wear the thermal elements too fast, and eventually you will have to change them. So you will get a longer life out of your kiln if you wait a little bit. Also, if you open it way too early, it will affect the glazing, and worst case, your pots could crack. So what I do is that I wait until it's about 200, maybe 150 degrees centigrade, depending on how patient I am. And then I will lift it up a little bit. And that's enough typically to just take a peek. Let's see. It looks good. So like that. And then in order to decrease the last part of the temperature, I put something under, like I have these high fire soft stones. Let me just put it in there and I can show you. Something like that. Because the thing is, of course, that the first part of the temperature drop from more than 1,000 degrees centigrade down to a few hundred degrees goes pretty fast. But then the colder it gets, the slower the cooling is, because the difference between the inside and the outside temperature, of course, is small. So by doing this, you can kind of force it to drop a little bit more. I don't start unloading until it have a temperature where I can actually handle the pots. It doesn't make any sense to take them out when they're so hot that you can't handle them. At this point, it's 48 degrees, which is enough, more or less, to start unloading it. So let's move ahead with that. When you remove the stones again, or whatever small pieces of bricks you have here, make sure you hold on to it when you open the lid, because you don't want it to fall into your pots or break anything. So, yeah, this looks nice. So the first thing I do is I just enjoy. And of course, if there's something to enjoy. But in this case, there is. This first, the top layer is a lot of these small breakfast bowls, soup bowls, whatever you want. And I want to see if anything kind of warped, if there's any unevenness in the glaze or artifacts that I don't like. Next thing, I want to make sure that they didn't stick to the kilns. And this is just a little bit of kiln wash that stuck to it. It's no problem. I can remove that easily. And it looks like these glazes are very stable. I know these glazes. That's also why I didn't protect my kilns outside of the kiln wash. They don't run. So I would be very surprised if they did. And the glazing looks nice. The foot is perfect. The inside glazing, all of it. So I'm pretty happy with this first layer. So next I'm gonna remove them. At this stage, I don't like stacking them too much. Maybe with these kind of balls, you can put two of them together or something. But I don't like stacking too much because it's still, you know, inside the clay is still relatively warm, so it can still, you know, change just a little bit. And if it got stuck because it's stacking, I could crack them that way. So I'm still, you know, being a little more careful with it until they're completely cold. So I'll just remove them one by one, and I'll put them on a tray and take them inside. So that was the first layer. Now let's look at next. When removing the shelves, be careful. 2 reasons. They can still contain a lot of heat, so they may be warmer than your pots. So for that reason, I take my gloves on, just to be sure, because you don't want to burn yourself and suddenly drop them or something. The other thing is, there could be, like in this case, you can see that the kiln wash is getting loose. I need to repaint them with some kiln wash here. The kiln wash we put on the plates, and to make sure that if there's some sticking, it won't stick to the actual plate, but to this wash instead. And the kiln wash is a combination of a high amount of alumina hydroxide, or alumina, because that's melted at a very, very high temperature, much higher than what we find the kiln to. You can buy kiln wash, or you can mix it up yourself. I can throw down a recipe in the description. It's quite easy and cheap to make. So the other thing is, take them up like this. Don't turn them around, because then all this, you see all these little, you know, because it's getting loose. You don't want to drop that on your pots. So remove it very carefully, because you don't also want the protection down here to tip over anything. So that's good. Second layer looks promising too. Very carefully. See all the props here. You don't want that to tip over either. So I'm gonna take that away. And they can sometimes, again, they can be a little bit warmer than your pots. I think it like the kiln shells, they absorb the heat a little bit or something. I'm not sure. So now look at the second layer. And again, the same thing. The foot looks good. The rims are perfect. This is I can just explain a little bit. This is a sort of a modified floating blue glaze. Some cobalt in it, and contrary to the original one that has some red iron oxide, I dropped that in favor of some manganese, and that gives it a little more of a purplish edge where it breaks. So I kind of like that. With the red iron oxide, it tends to be a little too brown. And this is a green glaze. It's called. Got the name now. I will put that in the description as well. They are both from, well, this one is the blue one is a little bit modified, but you can find examples on these on glazed.org. I can put a link down there if you're interested. I really like it. These ones I brushed some red iron oxide with a what do you call it, like a fan brush. I showed you in another video. I can link to that. So again, this layer is perfect. So I'm just going to remove that after I got the first tray inside. So same thing with the next shelf. Very, very careful. See, this is exactly what can happen. I had some extra little racing pieces, and a couple of them got lifted up and dropped into the cup. I don't think anything bad happened here, but could have happened. This looks really good too. Let's see if I made any damage here. Now, when you get down to the lower level layers, you will notice that they get warmer. And so even though the first layers were quite easy to handle, I recommend that you take a little more care, because these ones, I mean, I could touch them, but a little bit too hot. So that was very hot indeed. Just burned my fingers a little bit. But as you see, it didn't actually, or maybe you can't see it, but it didn't actually damage the cup in any way. It was just dropped down there. So this is the same glaze, the green one and the floating blue. And as expected, it turned out really nice. So let me just put on a glove here. Because basically I want to check the same thing here. These are the cups. I want to make sure that it didn't run. And see, in this case, it actually did run a little more than what I'm expecting. So this one actually still sits perfectly. So in case it didn't run too much, I can grind them. And this is actually surprising that they run. Maybe because of the carving, but I kind of like it. So I think it worked out okay, which is very interesting. So, but they don't stick to the shelf, which is the most important. And here we have the green one. So I'm gonna empty this layer too. For this layer, even though officially now the temperature is 36 degrees, this is definitely hotter. So I need to wear the gloves when I remove that. This is what makes opening and unloading a kiln full of glazed stuff really, really exciting. This looks so beautiful. The last layer also looks beautiful. At least it looks like intended. So these are the cups that are glazed in the green glaze, and as you see, that doesn't actually run as much, even though they have the same carvings. So maybe I want to apply a little bit less of the blue one, or maybe I want to wipe it a little more around the foot. So that looks good. And this big bowl is also very nice. So, all in all, happy outcome. So, as I said, all in all, I'm really happy with the result of this fire and the unloading. So now we'll go in and check everything more carefully and see if there's something that needs a little bit of grinding. The foot can sometimes need that. Also, there can be a little bit of the kiln wash that attach itself to the foot, and you can grind that off very easy with a diamond grinder. I have these little spongy kind of diamond grinders, and that works great. If there's any bigger lumps, I will grind it with my big grinder that I have on my wheel, my rolling wheel. I have a video about how I use that, so I can show you that. Also a link to where you can buy it very cheaply. Which is good. So I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a short video this time, which is good sometimes too. If you do, and you like some of my other videos, please subscribe or like or share, whatever you do here on YouTube, and come back soon again. And I hope to see you. Have a good day.